We, the gentlemen to my left and bottom, are going to talk about The Mandalorian. Hi, friends. This is me, Thaddeus from Going Nerdy. Today,
We're live.
I'm telling you, we're live. It says we're live. This is every week it does this.
Yes, we're live.
We're live. Let me bring up my YouTube.
Did you put it on?
There we are. Yeah.
Did you put it on?
We're
Ultra
live.
Latency?
I did put it on. I did put it on Ultra.
It is showing up much quicker.
Yep. So, all right. What would a Going Nerdy live stream be without technical difficulties? It wouldn't.
No technical difficulties this time.
Awkward pauses. I don't know.
It does have your. I just copied and pasted the thing, and yeah.
What?
I copy and pasted the link to the show.
Yeah.
And it's a weird thumbnail instead of actually,
Wonderful. I haven't put in the thumbnail yet, so. Okay. Well, today we are talking about the most recent episode of The Mandalorian. I forgot the name of the show.
Baby Yoda show.
The Baby Yoda Show. Yes. The Baby Yoda Show. And actually, I think at this point, it's becoming the Boba Fett Show.
He's a Mandalorian. We can confirm that.
That is true. We can now officially confirm that he is a true flippin' Mando. Okay, today we have to acknowledge an absence in our presence. Geek Girl is not with us tonight. She's just overworked and needed a break, and so we're like, just you take the time.
Take your time.
Yeah, this is, as much as we love this show, it's not worth your health. So she will be hopefully back with us next week to talk about the final episode of The Mandalorian. But let's get started. This was, I don't know. We said this on the live stream. This was a fun episode. It wasn't an amazing episode.
Yeah.
Okay?
I did call it.
What did you call?
That it would be.
I said this was gonna be the run up to the last. This was gonna be like a jailbreaky type episode.
Yeah. Yeah.
It wasn't so much a jailbreak as a heist.
It was definitely a heist. And one of the. It was absolutely a heist.
It was absolutely a heist.
Yeah.
You're right, because the information
Was the goal.
Booty.
Yeah.
It was a heist.
Yeah, you don't have to steal money to have something be of value.
It doesn't have to be for money for a heist.
Yeah, right. And so one of the things I will say, and this was, I think Geek Girl said this, or someone said this in the in our live stream, but this was all about character development, this episode.
Yeah, it was.
I mean, okay, but let's go ahead and get into it. Leaving off on the last week, we know that Mando was supposed to be picking up, or he was going to bust out Mayfield, right? From the Drakian, I don't remember the name of the planet, some kind of mine planet, the fields of Kestis. It was a penal. Hey, Nev, come on. Penal colony.
It was a penal colony.
Psh.
You said penal.
Was it a big penal colony, or do you think? Well,
It was an entire planet, so yeah. I mean, I'd say a planet's a pretty big penal colony.
do you think it had? Okay, I'm gonna stop. That being said, so okay, we know that they were gonna bust out Mayfield. Now, this was one interesting. Just like in the previous episode in the tragedy, this episode starts right off the bat. There's no prison break per se, and I was kind of shocked by that. Again, was kind of shocked by the runtime. We had about a 30. It said like 32 minutes.
Yeah, 30 minutes.
Yeah. So we go in. Mayfeld is sitting there, and the droid walks up to him. I gotta say though, guys, that droid, the New Republic guards or whatever they're called, they look awesome to me. Like, I think it's really cool what they've done with the droids in this show.
I mean, it's a clear rip-off of Chappie. But
Well, yeah, doesn't matter. I mean,
they are cool looking droids.
yeah, I just think that they're really neat. I think that they're stepping up their game, you know. Anyway, so the droid comes up to Mayfield and is like, "Hey, prisoner 9999, whatever."
95637, if I'm correct. I'm going off the top of my head.
95637.
95637.
Are you sure that it's not 8675309?
No, that would be Jenny's. That would be Jenny's prisoner number.
Hold on. I wouldn't be shocked if his prison number actually referenced something like that, because there were a couple of weird Easter eggs in this episode that were funny as all get out. And we'll get to those here in a second. But 309, Run DMV says. Anyways, so he walks up and he's like, "What? What do you want?" And he's like, "There's a prison transfer." And he uncuffs him.
34667.
34667. Okay. Anyways, he gets up and he's like, "What do you mean prison transfer?" He's in walks Cara Dune. Right? Rebel officer, not rebel officer. Well, she was a rebel vanguard person, right? Shock trooper. But current.
By the way, turn up your
Greetings,
desktop audio so
Exalted
people get us.
I did. Matt Throth, thank you for the subscription.
Hey.
So I turned you guys up once I realized that I had lowered you. Actually, Kashmir pointed that out. I was like, "Ah, crap! I did it again." Yeah. So Smoke Show, Cara Dune, Run DMV points out, walks up and is like, "Let's go," and justifiably, this guy's nervous, right? He's like, where are we going?" and like it takes him. He's definitely hesitant. You could see the hesitance in his like body not chemistry,
Language. My God,
Thank you.
He's atrocious today.
It's atrocious every day, my friend. So his body language, he's stiff. You know, he's been working on this penal colony. It's probably cold out, and so he's not sure that he wants to move, right? He's not sure he wants to go with her. They walk over to Slave 1, which we still assume is Slave 1. We have been calling it Slave 2 because we've not been given an official, "This is Slave 1," right? But and off walks Boba Fett. And what is awesome about this is Boba Fett is wearing, like, we haven't really focused.
He's given it a clean coat of paint is what he's done.
It looks.
He's cleaned his colors up. That's all he's done. He's cleaned his colors up.
It looks amazing. Like
It does look.
it looks so good.
It looks better now. It's got a clean lick of paint done. It definitely.
Yeah, like as I was watching that, and I was like, "Oh, that's like it." It popped, you know. It just looks so good. And so Mayfield walks up. He's like, "Oh, I thought you were this other guy. He's kind of a joker. He's kind of a hothead." And then off walks Mando. Right. I don't remember. They get on the ship, and on the ship we are explaining why. Right. That's where they tell him what they're doing, or is it off before the ship? Before they get on the ship, I think it was like they say
they get on. They all walk on and just expect him to follow them.
Yeah.
Which he does.
Yeah, they just told him get in.
Yeah.
And then they tell him what's going on as he's getting there. Because he's like, "We need you to find Moff Gideon's ship." And he's like, "No way."
Yeah, and so he's got a little bit of trepidation. He's a little anxious because it's Moff Gideon, right? And he's like, look, I'm not part of the Empire anymore. I left that life behind me, right? And there's visible, there's visible tension between Kara and Mayfield, right? Throughout this episode, you can tell she does not trust him, or is not happy with how that he worked for the Empire, right? And so finally, though, she's had enough. And she's like, look, they took his kid. And that's when you see like a glimmer of humanity in Mayfield. And he's like, all right. He's like, they took the little green guy. And that's when he starts, hey, there was this plant, this mine on this planet. It's, it's out there. It's one of those things where it's like no one knows about it, right? And they'll have a terminal because that's what I need to get the information that we have. It's this terminal, right? And so they start heading to the planet, right? I gotta say though, and maybe I'm wrong here because Run points out that Bill Burr played the role beautifully. He absolutely did. And it only gets better. His performance only gets better throughout this episode. But one of the things that I've got to say, I don't think I personally have ever seen the inside of Slave One. Right?
No, nobody's. Yeah. Well,
we've seen the cockpit.
If you've read the complete ship's guide, which I have, then you can't. But you see it as a blueprint. You don't see it as like see it like we are visually.
Yeah.
You just know what it's like when you see a blueprint of the Millennium Falcon. You know how it looks from a blueprint, but you don't know how it looks. So
yeah. And so that was one of the things that really intrigued me right off the bat is Run DMV, thank you, sir. Bill Burr played that role. Thank you for the super chat and scaring the absolute crap out of me.
Okay.
Did you hear that?
No, we didn't.
No? Okay. So
I'm sure chat did. It didn't cycle into Zoom chat, and I've got the stream muted.
Okay, so I've got a screaming goat as the donation for a super chat, and so anytime someone does a super chat, and I'm not prepared for it, it's terrifying. Like it is and you guys probably know I'm a jumpy person. It is terrifying. I don't know why I put that as the noise, but it scares me every freaking time. Anyways, so thank you, Run DMV. Now, it was cool though seeing the inside of the Slave 1 / Slave 2. We don't officially know, but it was. I'm going to exploit that anytime you want to, my friend. But it was so cool seeing inside of Slave 1, like the layout, the focus, like it was neat to me, right? I mean, it was something that was familiar but unknown, and they did it in such a way that made sense, because one of the things that I've always been frustrated with Slave 1 is which way is up, right? Because when
the cockpit is inverted. The cockpit is like when astronauts climb into the capsule. They climb in and they're on their backs looking up, because that's the way it takes off.
Yeah, and
when the craft is landed, it's you're in the cockpit like that, and then obviously once it lifts off and the repulsors and the sublight engines kick in, it tilts to 90 degrees, and that's it going forward.
Yeah.
Obviously, the engines are at the back. The engines are... That's what makes it such a good ship, because when it's grounded, you can't take out the engines. You can't take out the sublight engines.
I didn't think about that, but that's interesting. But to me, it was really cool seeing that. To me, it was really cool seeing the way the ship moved inside. right? Okay, so they gotta go to this planet, and they're traveling around, and they're like, okay, what is this? Is a weird planet. We don't know this. They start scouting around, and they see this giant tanker truck, right? And they start looking at it, and Bill Burr's like, all right, so this is what's gonna happen. He lays out his plan. He's like, I'm gonna go in, I'm gonna take the tanker truck, and we'll go through and I'll get the codes. And then you have this moment. They're like, no, you're not going alone. We just busted you out. There's no what's to stop you from informing on us the moment you get there, right? And then he's like, no. Carol will go. Like Mando's like, Carol will go. She's like, no. And then Bill Burr's like, no, she can't go. They have this system where it scans for New Republic DNA, right?
Yeah.
And if it picks up New Republic DNA, then we're toast. We're hosed, right? Then, so he's like, all right, well, Kara can't go. Then let's go to Shand, and Shand is like, well, I can't go either. The remnant.
They got me dead to rights.
Yeah, they got me dead to rights. And then Boba makes the subtle joke, I think they'd recognize my face.
that was good.
Right? And like the first part I was like, oh, yeah, because he's Boba Fett. But then I was like, oh, yeah, because he was a clone. And
yeah, okay, how long did
with all the scars, I don't think they'd recognize him.
Away.
It took me till yesterday. I was like, it didn't happen right away for me. It was literally yesterday that I was sitting there and I was like, oh yeah, that is right, because he's a clone. I can be kind of dense sometimes, if you guys haven't noticed. But it is what it is, right? So Mando
We love you.
Thank you. Mando says, all right, I'm good to go with you. And Burr's like, okay, buddy, I'm smooth. I'm really smooth. There's no way I can talk around that armor. And so Vin becomes the first in a great deal of character building moments between Mayfield and Mando. When they capture the truck, Mando. Actually, no, hold on. Before they capture the truck, another truck comes on. It's like number 5 or whatever. They've seen a number of trucks go under this little mountain, this crevasse. Also, there is a how-to. If you ever want to learn how to drive one of those trucks, Bill Burr does walk you through it. He's like, this is how you do it. This is the motivator. And all right, let's go. But what's awesome is we do see Cara Dune in action. Not only her shooting skills like we see later on in the episode, but we see her break into this little, what do you call it? With the cockpit of the truck.
The cab.
The cab. I feel like at this point, that's a cockpit. That vehicle is way more advanced than a simple cab. Calling it a cab, I think, does it a great disservice. Right? You get in like a Chevy Silverado or an F-150, whatever truck guy you are. That's a cab. And they're awesome trucks, right? They're really...
You get into a semi-truck, you still call it a cab.
This is a semi-truck on like another planet. This is...
So it's still a cab.
I disagree. This is definitely a cockpit of some kind. This is...
You'll help me here.
It's not a cockpit.
Why would it not be a cockpit?
Because a cockpit indicates some form of transportation that flies.
Yes, flight equals cockpit. Cab equals ground.
That thing flew. Did you see how smoothly it drove? Like, it was... The suspension on that thing, next level. I would say that if it didn't fly, it glided on wings of angels. It was
And
You're not going to justify calling it. It doesn't matter what metaphors you use or similes you use to, define the motion of the vehicle, not ship, vehicle. You are not going to get away.
All right, fine.
Referring to it as a cockpit. It's a cab.
All right. Deanna Worrell says, but it is more like a tractor or heavy equipment, and those are still called cabs. All right.
And I know Deanna, and she grew up on a farm, so she wins.
I will say this. While I will acknowledge that I may not be right, I will not acknowledge that I am wrong. And you guys are probably more right than I am. Anyways, so they get into the cab, and as they're driving along, Cara Dune drops in and drops the stormtroopers. Like in a ballet of brutality.
Every time she kicks ass, I get a boner.
A nerdgasm.
Yeah, it's like going back to my youth and watching Buffy the Vampire Slayer. It really is.
Yeah, Kashmir, that is exactly right. That is exactly what I do. I spend way too much time around kids. As at work, as a work-related experience.
Well, you also have 2 kids. So
oh my gosh, yes, that's true. Love them, but they drive me crazy. In a good way. I mean, I love my kids. Anyways, so they're in the cab. Cara just beats the ever-living crap out of these 2 guys. It is awesome to see her in action. And it's cool to see that it's cool to see her do her own stuff. I mean, we've talked about this a lot in this show. I think when you have stunt doubles, I think when you have other people, it does take out some of the, I don't know, it takes out some of the joy, some of the realism, I guess, of the show. And
I love Black Widow, but it's Black Widow I love. You know, I'm not thinking, oh, Scarlett Johansson's hot because she kicks ass, because she doesn't kick ass. Her stunt double kicks ass.
Yeah.
You know, but not Scarlett Johansson.
And
but Cara Dune, you know, oh, yeah, she kicks ass.
Yeah. And it is her, the actress, which is awesome. Okay, so I gotta say, they say that, what is it? The suit makes the man, and never is that more evident than in this episode, because Mando walks off that episode, or he walks out of like the shadows in stormtrooper armor, and he looks diminished. I mean, he doesn't look nearly the stature, the weightiness of who he is. He looks like just a typical stormtrooper, which is the effect he's going for. But it's almost like the first level of vulnerability that we see with Mando in this episode. He gives up the Beskar, he gives it to Cara Dune and says, "Take good care of this. This is my second baby. So make sure that it's, fed and watered and kept clean, right?" Run DMV points out he was humanized, and that's absolutely true. This is one of the first real human moments we see, and it's been something that's been continual over the course of this season, and to some extent last season. But we see him here now. The next scene, the next little bit, was the longest part of the episode. And if there's a moment in this episode that says that anyone could say that it dragged on, it would be this moment where Bill Burr and Mando are talking. When really it's Bill Burr that's talking and Mando's sitting there quietly not doing anything.
Or was he? Did they add this in and just put the armor there in place?
I don't know. Oh, I see your point. Because this could have been when shoot, what is it? Pedro Pascal had all that that breakdown of everything that was going on, right? This could have been the episode that was affected by that. We don't know. Yeah, we will never know. But so Bill Burr goes off on this, and Nev, I kind of want to get your point or your thoughts on it, because one of the things that Bill Burr he says during this little monologue that he goes off. So as they're driving, they drive through a town, and you see like the depression, the resistance of the people there. You can see what they're going through, and he brings up the point, and he says, "Look, for these people, it doesn't matter if you're Republic or Empire. All they see is an invading force taking over their world, right? To them, it doesn't matter. It's just people, you know." And I was thinking, like, as we were watching this, I was so curious about Nev's point of view on this, because this is one, I feel like it's right up your alley, Nev. Yeah. But two, it is a point that they do make throughout a lot of they made it in the sequel series quite a bit. It was definitely a point to be made, a point that was made in episode 8, you know, with the whole Canto Bite thing. But it is, look, so off.
You're talking about the Benicio del Toro character that builds weapons on both sides.
Yeah. But the idea is that when your government gets so big, little people get squished all the time. So, I mean, what were your thoughts when this was going on, Nev? What were some of the questions?
Well, no, he's you know, he was absolutely right. I was thinking, well, yeah, you know, he's just, you know, he's absolutely 100% correct. You know, regular people are always the people that get the shitty end of the stick.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter who's in charge or what good they think they're doing. The people at the bottom are always the people that get shat on.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying he's I mean, he's not arguing from a, you know, I'm not suggesting that he's like, you know, an anarchist or anything like that, because he's not, you know. Clearly he favored one side over another, just like Boba Fett did. You know, there's, you know, Boba Fett was all for the Empire as well back during his youth. So, you know, there are a lot of similarities between Mayfeld. There are more similarities between Mayfeld and Boba Fett than between Mayfeld and the Mandalorian, because obviously the Mandalorian was you know, while he was while the dialogue was going on, he was trying to say that they're both the same. Now Mandalorian couldn't see it, and I think that they were trying to, and I was kind of on Mando's side. I'm like, no, they may have been like that. They may have been similar in their past, but the Mandalorian isn't anymore, and it's because he's got kids, he's got other responsibilities. Mayfeld has never had that.
Yeah,
but the Mandalorian does. You know, ask anybody that, you know. So kids change the Mandalorian, but yeah, you know, it's kind of, you know, that they're showing the visuals. You know, tiny little shanty town people just trying to, you know, eke their lives out. And we know that the planet is populated by other things as well. You know, it's a big planet. But yeah.
And like, it was, I will say that is one of the things that is interesting to me, that Bill Burr went through this, and it's going to be another point that we talk about here in a moment, because while he doesn't have the like the children aspect of that we know of, we do have he did have responsibility that we find out later on about him and his whole platoon and stuff like that. Thank you, Rod DV, for the super chat, and he says that was my favorite exchange, the education of Mando, and it's so true, because he even brings up not just like the Empire and the New Republic. He talks about Mandalore, right? He throws up. He's like, "What do you think? Your Mandalorians, experienced this? No, of course not. He's like, of course they did, right? And as much as like that back and forth slowed the episode down, and I think that it did. I think as a pacing moment, it absolutely slowed it down. It did set,
especially after the last 2 episodes.
Yeah. But like, I think that it sets up Mayfield as a returning character. I think this whole episode is setting up Mayfield as a returning character. Now, what will he return as? I don't know, but
Rangers of the New Republic.
possibly that would be really cool. Because we don't know what any of those shows are about. Yeah. So, anyways, we see this whole back and forth as they're driving. They've got to keep a steady speed limit, or else I've got to say, I'm wondering now that I'm thinking about it. So as they're driving, suddenly they're attacked by townspeople, right? And the thought,
no, they were a completely different species, but
yeah, they were a different species than the townspeople.
The species that was in that scene could very well have been native, or they might literally just be pirates, or they might be paid vagabonds to just hired by You got to remember that the rebellion, when they were rebellion and not the New Republic, weren't adverse to pairing themselves with persons of an unsavory nature in order to achieve their goals.
Mm-hmm.
Paying a bunch of pirates to just sit on a planet and do hit and run attacks.
Yeah, that's true.
On Remnire Empire Remnant means they don't have to bother their ass with helping the people on that planet. It's like, here's a couple of 100,000 credits. Do us a favor, just blow them up. Randomly. Here's some grenades. Here's some funds. Here's some weapons. Just do some damage for us, please.
Yeah, CIA type stuff. I can say
Insurgent stuff.
Yeah.
Bit like what the CIA did in Syria.
Yeah. Come on, Nev, you're gonna get me demonetized.
No, that's true. Don't worry, you can say that.
No, I know it's totally true, but I will say the NSA just lives up the street from me, so I've always got to be careful. They are always listening. Which, welcome guys to the show. I appreciate it. Subscribe,
Super chat.
Super chat from the NSA. Yes. Although that would be cool. Anonymous. Anyways, no, Run points out, everything can't be action packed, but it does set up the action packedness, right? One of the things that was so important in the episode is they had to keep the speed under a certain percentage, or else the cargo would explode. The question that Rhydonium, right? Now, is it the Rhydonium would explode, or are these like the local police and they went over a speed limit in a school zone and they were like, look, no, our children are worth more than that, and you are going to pay with your life. That's what I'm thinking.
It was a train robbery.
It was a train robbery, Nev. Thank you for shattering my dreams. It was
obviously they weren't trying to steal said cargo; they were just trying to destroy said cargo.
Yeah, as we saw, because they blew up 2 other ones, right? And so Mando jumps out there, and slowly we start to realize that Mandalorian armor is not, or is much better than the Stormtrooper counterpart.
Yeah. Because he temporarily forgot that he didn't have his armor on, because he's holding up his armor. He was doing his blocks as if he was in his armor.
Yeah.
And the blows were landing. So he's like, ow, ow, ow. It's
ow.
Like, okay,
stop,
I got
stop
to
it
differently.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
like, stop hitting yourself. Stop hitting yourself. Stop hitting. It's like, ow, ow. Yeah. So
it was it was awesome to see that, like, even in even with all that, he still adjusted and just beat the absolute crap out of wave after wave after wave of insurgents. Now,
yeah, it reminded to be. It really, really reminded me of the scene from Raiders of the Lost Ark, where you've got all of the Nazis and they're all they're all climbing around the side of the truck, and he's all there on his own, and he's got to fight off all these Nazis off the truck in order to get away with the Ark, and he's swerving and he's having a punch, and he's on his last legs, and he's hanging on the front just like the Mandalorian was hanging off the side. So yeah, it felt very Indiana Jones-esque.
Yeah, I will say, except in this sense, Indiana Jones being Mando is working for the Nazis to an extent. Like, he's trying to infiltrate the Nazis, right? But
Indiana Jones did that.
He did,
in
actually.
Raiders of the Lost Ark. He did that in Raiders of the Lost Ark.
He did it in the last one, too.
Crystal Skull.
No, we don't. That one doesn't count.
That one doesn't count.
That was a fever dream of Indiana Jones after he got bit by a snake in the Amazon jungle. That is not a real episode. Maybe it was a coke den. He went to a meth house in, like, Taiwan or something. I don't know. And I'm not saying... Okay, I'm going to dig myself a hole there. But, like, yeah. That one doesn't count. Anyways. So, where were we? Okay, so wave after wave of insurgents comes after. They're trying to blow it up, and they're getting pretty close a couple of times. Finally, they make it to the bridge, and the good guys show up. The stormtroopers rush out and save Mando.
No, the TIE fighters first.
That's right.
TIE fighters.
That's right.
So they're coming up to the bridge where he has to slow down.
Yeah.
And he's slowing down, and then all of a sudden they're catching up, and Mando's like stood there defiant, like.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, TIE fighters.
That's true.
And I just I've got to say that this was a much, much, much better and more convincing chase scene than that one through the canyon when they steal that ship and Carl Weathers is crap on a cannon and the TIE fighters are flying around. This is a much, much more convincing chase scene.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that.
Then he gets to where the point that you're talking about.
Yeah,
where the stormtroopers are.
It's
the stormtroopers come out.
You're right on. I liked that episode. There were things about that episode I didn't necessarily care for. But the stormtroopers come out, right? They take off. They kill the insurgents or stop the insurgents from coming in. Mayfeld, without his helmet on, and Din Djarin with his helmet on, of course, are greeted as heroes. Are just welcomed in. And as they are welcomed in, this whole time I'm thinking to myself, they're going to get noticed. Right? How is it that no other stormtrooper noticed that they don't know these people? I mean, isn't that...
No. That doesn't wash. No. Do you know how many?
It's just a small base.
You get lots. No,
I mean, help me out here, Nev.
You get lots of personnel. You do get a lot of personnel, right? You get a lot of personnel on an army barracks, right? And B, Empire military regulations require TK units to wear their helmets at all times outside the barrack room.
Yeah.
So they wouldn't know each other, and you wouldn't know any of them unless you were in the exact same barracks as them. Unless you shared a bunk with them, ex-military, right? Been on camps, and I knew the people in my block. I didn't know anybody in any of the other blocks whatsoever.
All right.
So if I saw somebody with that, if I saw someone's face for the first time, outside in civilian clothes, I would not go, oh yeah, I know you. You're on the same camp as me. It's like, doesn't work like that. So
All right, so that makes sense. I do have another thing that I will need your expertise on here in a moment. But as we're going through, like they go on and they're like, all right, let's look for. They make it into the base. They make it into like the mess hall area, the common room where people are like
mess.
the officers' mess. But then they get to the officers' mess, and Mayfield's like, all right, I'm gonna sneak in. There's the thing, and I'm gonna go do the thing. He walks in, sees his an old commander of his, who may or may not recognize him. And we find out later on he does not recognize him. But Mayfield immediately turns back around and says, I can't do it. That's my old commander. We've got to find another way. Let's go through. We got to abort. This is something totally different. And he's like, this is...
Give me the key. I'll do it.
Yeah. Mando says, give me the key. I'll do it. And he's like, you've got it. They're going to scan your face. If they don't scan your face, it's going to doing a warning or whatever, it's not going to work. He's like, give me the key card. And this is the moment, right? He walks in, takes the key card, punches in all the numbers. I'm curious to know what all of that information actually said. But as they're going through, he doesn't take his helmet off. It scans him the first time, and it lets off a warning. And this is where, as he's typing in the code a second time, he takes his helmet off. It scans his face. And we see Pedro Pascal without his helmet for the second time. Strangely... Go ahead.
So my question is, it scans his face. Wouldn't there be a facial recognition database?
Yeah. That's an Easter egg.
Easter egg
the Imperial Network recognizes his face as an Imperial.
Oh. So do you think that's what it is?
I thought you would have picked up on that. Yeah.
No,
yeah. The facial scanning is scanning to make sure that he is
Imperial.
A legitimate Imperial, or the alarm was going to go off.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't want, by taking it off and allowing his face to be scanned. Mayfeld doesn't just know what he looks like now. Mayfeld now knows that he is ex-Imperial himself.
Yeah. That's interesting. Is he ex-Imperial? Were they so that'll be an interesting plot that they point out, because we know that in Rebels, Concord Dawn, right, who we saw in not Rebels. No, yeah, you're right, Rebels. Concord Dawn had Pre Vizsla, not Pre Vizsla. Was it Pre Vizsla?
Paz
Vizsla, right? Played by Jon Favreau, right? Wasn't Paz Vizsla voiced by Jon Favreau?
Yes, Pre and Paz
both were. Okay, so they were working with the Empire. So it makes me wonder if now because here's the thing. Saturday morning, a guy from high school reached out to me on Facebook Messenger. He's like, I've got a question. I was like, all right, hit me. What's up? And he's like, did they not recognize it? Did they scan his face? And what were they scanning for? Is he Imperial? Is he not Imperial? And I didn't know how to answer that, because for me, the way they explained it in the episode was that it scanned your face and only recognized DNA that was for the New Republic in their system. Or if they recognized DNA that was New Republic in the system, that's when the alarm went off.
Well, no, because he was accessing restricted information that would have required an Imperial's clearance. It's to be honest. I mean, I don't think there's anything deeper to this other than he was probably, as a teenager, he was probably conscripted into into some kind of Imperial training, as a teenager when he was on Mandalore.
Okay, and that could make sense.
Which that would make the most sense to me.
Yeah,
Mandalore would have been under
all
Imperial
that would
occupation.
make sense to me.
Yeah,
it would have been, Mandalore would have been under Imperial occupation. And as more and more stormtroopers, what tended to happen with Empire was they would do localized training, and then the best would get sent off to Caradan, I think it was, which was like the storm, the elite stormtrooping planet. So regular troops for regular stormtroopers for a planet would be trained on that planet.
Yeah.
At military school on that planet, if it was under occupation. So that was probably the most likely reason why he passed an Imperial scan.
And I guess that makes sense. That makes sense, actually. So, but with Paul, that I agree. That's probably the only explanation that would make sense. I think you're right, Nev. There's probably not a whole lot of backstory to that, or story that's deeper than that. But still
worrisome.
Yeah, I thought, like, when I first read it, I was like, is that just a giant plot hole? Because it felt like one.
Call me.
I said plot hole?
Oh.
Yeah. So, they go through their stuff, and he finally gets the information. He's about to leave. Mayfield walks up, or not Mayfield, Hess walks up.
Colonel Hess.
Colonel Hess. Now,
was it Colonel?
Something Hess. I can't remember. Now, here's the thing. And I looked for his name, and I couldn't find it, but I didn't look super hard, to be honest. The second guy in Inferno Squad. So Inferno Squad has 3 characters. Iden Versio's baby daddy, and the other guy. And I swore the other guy's last name was Hess.
Isn't it?
I thought it was. I couldn't find him.
All right, I'm looking. I'm going.
Yeah, and so we know that he doesn't make it, right? I think at the end of the game, there's implication or knowledge or something's dropped that's like, I don't know, but it sounded really familiar. But we do know that Inferno Squad did take part in Operation Cinder, and that was discussed here, which would make a lot of sense. But anyways, so this Hess walks up and he starts asking.
That is true. Yeah. What Run DMV is saying, he would be on the registry because he was at the end of season 1 when Gideon was going off everybody and gave him the name.
So I guess it would make sense. Good point, Run. So as they're going through, Hess walks up and he's like, "What's your name? What's your call sign?" And he's like, "I'm Truck Driver 1. I'm Trucker 1. Transport 7. Whatever." And he gives him this like clearly wrong name. And he's like, "No. What's your call sign? What's your TK number?" And he just looks at him and he doesn't know what to say. And then in walks Mayfield and smooth talks his way out of both of them. And as they're both about to leave, Officer Hess says, let's have a drink.
Let's go for a drink.
Let's go for a drink. And this is where things get messy. Hess starts talking about Imperial life and what it takes to be part of the Empire.
Well, yes, but it leads on from what shall we toast to? Asks them, what shall we toast to? Which kind of like is an unintended poke at Mayfeld. And that's when the dialogue starts. So keep going.
Elaborate on that. How is that a poke to Mayfeld?
It's an unintentional
because
one.
I said it was an unintended poke.
Oh, gotcha.
Because a toast is you're raising a glass to something.
Yeah.
You're toasting someone. You're saying cheers to someone. You're raising a glass to someone.
Yeah.
Or something. And basically, it's like, and that's where Mayfeld kicks in with, that's where he gives the story about the people that he served with.
Yep.
On a planet that he served on during a battle that he was involved in, where clearly sacrifices were made in the name of the Empire that he absolutely disagrees with, that lead back to this one commanding officer. So at some point during his military career, this officer submitted an order that sacrificed the lives of the unit or the platoon or the battalion that he was part of, that resulted in the complete and utter decimation of said unit or platoon or battalion that he was part of. And obviously, just as with clones, they're all brothers. You know, you don't care about whose side you're on or what you're fighting for when you're in a battle. All you care about is that the person in the shell scrape next to you has got your back and that you've got theirs. So when officers make decisions that just seem completely and utterly insubordinate or unlawful or illegal to the soldiers, they're like, why did you do that? You know, men are under your command. You're supposed to lead them, not kill them. And obviously, you know, so Mayfeld was kind of explaining that. And then after he'd explained that, that's when the Imperial officer started talking again. And it's like, well, you know, things have to be done. You know, the greater good, the greater good. Or obviously in this Imperial officers, it's like the greater me, because he's just trying to get results. And clearly he was prepared to sacrifice every single man under his command in order to achieve his evil goals.
Okay.
And moving up the chain.
Officer Valen Hess was a commander in Operation Cinder.
But is that same guy?
Wait, is it the same? Was it Operation Cinder?
I want to say Inferno was part of Operation Cinder.
But no, I'm talking about what was the
this
one that...
This Hess was part of Operation Cinder. That's the whole thing that Mayfield's talking about. This was Operation Cinder. Which is burn. It's what do they call it?
This is the same thing.
Yeah.
This is the exact what happened in Battlefront 2 ties in to this.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking. And I was like, I haven't played Battlefront 2 in a while, but like so here's the thing. And I'm only going to reference EA and this specific game, but this is how you make content for a video game when it connects to a greater universe. Okay? Now, granted, this is Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni taking that storyline and incorporating it years after the fact, but still a really cool concept. I now have to go back and play Battlefront 2, like story mode. I'm much better at that than I am at Squadrons, because as Nev can attest, I suck at Squadrons.
Yes, but you don't suck at Squadrons as much as you suck at the other game.
I suck at sucking at the other game, which is different, which is totally different. Which is, I guess, as good a time as any to remind our audience that as content creators, all three of us make videos about a Star Wars mobile game that shall not be named by any of us or any of you until the end of the episode, and then we talk about like what we have coming up. Until then, anyone who says it gets put in the timeout corner for 2 minutes, whether it's one of us or one of you. If we all say it at the same time, then we all get put in the timeout corner for 2 minutes and becomes the most awkward live stream ever. But that being said, let us move on from the danger that is this topic.
My mind is blown right now that I didn't realize putting this 2 and 2 together.
Like, I remember hearing that and I was like, that sounds familiar. And so, okay, so Hess is going off and he's like, look, sacrifices
Operation Cinder actually first appeared in the Shattered Empire comic book back in 2015.
Oh, really?
just a fun little note.
So which is a 4-part comic book that introduces what's his face's parents, Damerons. Right? Shattered Empire? Anyways,
I've not read Shattered
Yes.
Empire.
It's a good one. It introduces like the Force Tree. It's
Dameron.
Yeah.
Shara Bay and Kes Dameron.
Yeah.
Yep.
So which I believe when we refer to girls as or our romantic partners, not just girls, but our romantic partners as Bay, I'm pretty sure that came from Shara Bay of Star Wars. Pretty sure that's where it came from, like 99% sure. Run DMV says, I want awkward live stream. I don't know if you could get much more awkward than this. So, anyways, so this is the moment where we see Mayfield as a human, as not a bad guy, but as a person, as a guy who's done bad things. Mayfield is going. He and just like Nev pointed out, those people that died, and I think it was a battalion because he talked about like tens of thousands or thousands of people that died. So I'm assuming it's the greater number, and I think battalion's the biggest, right, under that umbrella. And so they, Hess is like, well, sacrifices have to be made. We outlasted all of them, and here we are. And Mayfield just pulls his gun and blasts him. And, like, we all knew it was coming, but it was wonderful to see. Like, it was so cool to see him just like, you killed my brothers. And then, like, poof, poof, he just shows how good he is. As a rifleman, as a shooter, as a marksman. Thank you. And he just took out like so many people right off the bat. And then Mando gets up and he starts helping out, and like before anyone's the wiser, they've destroyed or killed everyone in that room, and are starting to make their way towards the window. Right, and they work together and they kick out the shutter that'll lets them escape, and they start working their way along the path. And that's when we see Cara Dune and Fennec Shand and their sniper skills. And one after another, they're just like just like capping fools. And like they're taking people left and right. Both on the rooftop, they're people that are trying to like shoot them from below. It is awesome. Like this scene it was cool. Like it was the final escape scene of the episode. They're busting out. They're kicking doors down and they're climbing. They're getting away. Boba Fett is en route. He's coming in and he's making his way. And I don't remember. Did Boba Fett kill anyone? Did he open up cannons? I don't remember.
No. He was on the rescue party.
Yeah.
Rescue party of one.
So I think he provided covering fire, but I don't know if he connected.
Yeah, maybe that's true. Because it wasn't until they get on that they actually face off against the TIEs, right? Because the TIEs come back and they face off against. Yeah, but that's not till
you get two TIEs come as they're flying away. Yeah.
Okay. Because that's another part we need to talk about. As they are running away, right? Mayfield and Din, they make it to the ship. They get on the ship. Mayfield takes Boba Fett's long rifle, right?
Yep.
And aims as they're flying away, and he shoots the Rhydonium, demolishing the whole area. This station is gone.
Yeah, the facility's destroyed.
Yeah, so that is awesome. And for him, he's not doing, in my mind, he's not doing this as let's just gonna It's going to slow him down. It's going to help us escape. He's doing this to punish them. He's doing this because it is the greater good. And
the greater good.
The greater good. Yarp. I can't believe he was the Hound. Like, when I found that out, it just mind blown. Like, the Hound is the trolley boy from Hot Fuzz?
He's been in more than just that. Watch some British TV, your mind will be blown even more as to what other British TV shows he's in.
I'm good. I know that the British have some great shows, but I've seen The Crown.
He's also a police officer in a detective show in the UK as well.
Is he?
Mm-hmm.
Is he? Interesting.
Was.
What? Well, was. Now he's the Hound. He doesn't have to do anything he doesn't want to. But let's face it. After being the trolley boy in Hot Fuzz, he didn't have to do anything he didn't want to, anyways. His acting career was just on a. Speaking of Hot Fuzz, hold on. Where's my tangent alert button?
Did you do one?
No, I've got that.
Did you finally hotkey a tangent alert?
Yes, I totally did that. I'm not looking.
I'm just waiting for it to come up on my screen because the delay is considerable.
Is it considerable? That's my tangent alert. Damn it, I don't know where it is.
You've had 3 weeks to sort this out now.
You're right. But
that's Dalmatian.
But here, if I had a legitimate, here's one that's connected. Okay. So here we go. Apparently, the female detective or the female cop in Hot Fuzz is in the TV show The Crown, which is like she plays like the queen, and I'm like, what? That's the chick from Hot Fuzz. And apparently,
okay, right. I just need to let you know right here and right now. You do know, right, that 90% of the cast from Game of Thrones are British actors, right? You get that. So other British shows will have those actors and actresses in them. Yes.
I think you're pulling my leg, Nev.
British.
Next thing you're gonna
be British. All of the kings, the queens, the princesses, they're all British.
Next thing you're gonna tell me is like the British like once had the largest empire in the world. I mean,
yes. There was a time where the British Empire covered 1/4 of the globe.
Would you say it would be 1/4 portion of the globe?
1/4.
Oh God.
Which I gotta say brings us all the way back to Hot Fuzz, and because that's played by Simon Pegg, and we're back on topic. See how I did that? Welcome to what my mind is like. This is what ADHD looks like late at night. Anyways, great moment. Mayfield, blowing that up. Then, as they're making their getaway, TIE fighters come, and for whatever reason, they have forgotten what Slave 1/2 can actually do. And as they're flying away, as Boba is leaving the atmosphere, he drops a bomb. He drops, what is it? It's a seismic charge. And right as the ties are level, we can all hear the sound. It was so cool. Like that was just an awesome moment. And like I remember watching it, I'm like, that's so cool. It was amazing. It was just so sweet. So cool to see that. So cool to have it be brought back in. After we just to give you your analogy, you remember the scene from because obviously it's something that you see that you haven't seen in a while, and it's back, and you're like, yeah. It was Ash in Evil Dead 3
the evil, the third movie, Medieval Darkness,
Look
right?
at me. I'm
where
good
he's
at.
climbed out, he's climbed out of the pit, and the monster's running towards him, and he just puts his shotgun over his shoulder, fires it off, and he just goes. That's what it felt like.
What's the Evil Dead?
The Army of Darkness. Evil Dead 1, Evil Dead 2, Evil Dead 3, Army of Darkness. The Sam Raimi trilogy.
Who's Sam Raimi?
Are you
Sam Raimi?
I was wondering how long it would.
Who's
No.
Sam Raimi?
I love Evil Dead.
I was about to say thank you for showing up to this to Talking Mando. We won't see you next week.
No. I was just seeing how long I could carry that before I could get you guys.
Bruce Campbell.
Yeah,
Ash
I know.
from Evil
I
Dead.
know. I love Bruce Campbell.
Oh my god.
But what is
Good, bad on the guy with the gun.
Yeah, Bruce Campbell Saves the World. Did you ever see that one? Anyways, Bruce. I know Bruce Campbell. Evil Dead 1 scared the absolute crap out of me. Evil Dead 2 was fun. Evil Dead 3. I don't remember seeing Evil Dead 3, but I think that I have. So.
God, I can't believe you watched Army of Darkness.
Oh, yeah, I've seen Army of Darkness.
That's what the third one was called.
Then what's the second one?
Evil Dead 2.
Oh, okay.
Evil Dead 1, Evil Dead 2,
one.
and Evil Dead 3 was called
Army of Darkness. Yeah, then I've seen them all. All right. Just that's my boomstick. Okay. But it's been years. That's all. Where was it? Okay, so they land. It's on the ground now. They've decided to come be chivalrous and pick up the ladies. Mostly because they were the reasons they got out of there. And Cara Dune walks up and she's like, "Hey, I saw what you did back there." Which, I mean, how could she not have seen what he did back there? And then decided, like, hey, isn't it sad that Mayfield didn't make it out of that explosion? Which, what had to be going through his mind was, she's gonna kill me now. Like,
gonna kill me.
she's gonna kill me. I'm gonna turn my back and she's gonna shoot me. But there's a moment of understanding between these two now, where yes, they're and this is what I want to say that the new canon does a really good job of anytime they present with the Empire. There are those who are warlords who, like Moff Gideon, like Hess, like everyone that we know, who is willing to do whatever it takes to implement, to put people under the thumb, right? But then there's just the everyday average Imperial. And most people are not like that. Most people are just trying to bring order and do what they believe is good, right? They may be working for the evil guys, the bad guys, but, for them, the rebellion is the bad guys. The rebellion without, and so it really adds depth to these characters. And here we have two characters like Cara Dune and Mayfield, who are on opposite sides of the war, and it feels like they acknowledge, or at least from Cara Dune's point of view, it feels like she's acknowledging Mayfield's existence for the first time as a human, right? Not just a bad Imperial, someone that she'd be willing to kill in a heartbeat, but as an actual human who has potential value, right? And to me, that moment was so powerful. It was just really cool to see her maybe not forgive Mayfield's involvement, but not blame him for the destruction of her own planet, which he clearly didn't have any hand in. So I don't know. I thought that was awesome. I thought that was so cool. Then
setting up the episode for season 1 of Rangers of the New Republic, where she goes back to the planet. I'm putting together a crew.
Yep, that would be awesome. That
Mayfeld,
could.
I'm calling it now. Mayfeld is going to be one of the Rangers of the New Republic. I'm calling it now.
I could see that. I could totally see that. Now, because what happens is, people get promoted from within. She's now part of the New Republic government. There needs to be a group that's set up. Who are they going to reach out to? Well, they're going to reach out to someone that they know.
Ghostbusters.
Yeah, well, there's a connection, I'm sure. So as they go through, I could see her. Now, they have talked about Cara Dune getting her own TV show. They haven't said that it's going to be live action, And I think Rangers of the New Republic is a cartoon, right? Or have they gone that far?
No. There is no doubt in the back of my mind that they'll make it live action, because by the time they actually start filming Rangers of the New Republic, they've got the special effects teams all set up. They've got sets, they've got equipment, they've got weapons, they've got stuff that can just be rotated through.
Oh yeah. So here's the thing with that. So Disney just had their Investors Day 2020, and that's when all these new shows were launched. And lover or hater, and I know the feelings of most people, I think at least here, Kathleen Kennedy, one, gave an incredibly lackluster performance when delivering all this awesome new content. But one of the things that she talked about was this new system that they're using, which is essentially the 3D TV monitor system that they've used to create the Mandalorian, right? And they said that they have now created 3 of them. One in Hollywood, one in, I think, Los Angeles, and then definitely one in London. I don't know where the third one was. There was definitely one in California, one in London, and I forgot where the third one was. But essentially, the idea was, look, we have this thing that's going to make it so much easier for us to create good quality content. We build this thing around us, we build a sound stage within it, and then all of a sudden we have episode after episode after episode of new show after new show after new show. And this was an awesome thing for me to hear, right? And I'm very, very excited for the future of, that's in the next 3 years. That's what's insane. This isn't like, this is 10 years down the road. This is our future for the next 10 years. This is 3 years that they're setting all of this stuff up in. That's awesome. That's so cool. But anyways, the episode ends with a hologram. Not the hologram that we'd expected, or some of us expected.
I told you it's not going to happen until the end.
I don't think it's going to happen at all.
I said nothing about him appearing in this episode. I said it was going to be the last episode.
And Nev, I'll make a bet with you when we get to this in a second, because I don't think he's coming in.
Okay, so you're hedging your bet here because you said he is.
Wait, hold on.
Our bet is that he is.
Well, our bet was... Oh, crap, that's right. So I'm making a second bet. Hold on, I won't make a bet with you, Nev, because I don't have enough material. Otherwise, I would. Here's the thing. Hologram shows up. Din Djarin. Full Mando outfit. And he essentially gives the same speech that was given by Moff Gideon at this point last season.
Yeah, he quotes Moff Gideon back to Moff Gideon.
Yeah, and it is powerful. I gotta say, as a father, I watched this episode, and I'm like, this is why you don't mess with dads. Like, Mando has gone full dad, and it is awesome to see.
He goes full Liam Neeson.
Oh, yeah. Full Liam Neeson. I have a set of skills. And
yeah, it's funny you should mention that scene. I was watching Parks and Recreation, and Andy does the Liam Neeson speech, that exact one you're quoting there, to a doctor to make him change the birthday of his child from the 1st of November to Halloween. I've got skills. And the doctor goes, "Are you quoting Liam Neeson to me?" It's like, maybe I am. It's like, okay, your son was born on Halloween. So,
yes, we get this awesome end with him saying, "I'm coming for you. There's no place in the galaxy you can hide. He belongs with me." Awesome way to end the episode. Now, I will be sad if the season finale is only 32 minutes long. That will be a hard thing for me to take. It will have to be point by point by point perfect. And they've done that before. They've had episodes that we've all agreed are perfect. But there's a lot of weight riding on this one. I do think that it's going to upset people, whatever's coming next, because it's going to set up for season 3, right? And so just like season 2 ended with, Moff cutting himself out, it's got to set up for season 3. Now, before we get to our predictions, let's talk about what we thought of the episode. Let's go Nev, then Paul, then I'll finish off.
Yeah, loved every minute of it. Loved every minute of it. Very, the chase scene, the train robbery, the one man stand against everybody trying to, blow him up and kill him, and the TIE fighters coming in, Boba Fett's involvement, the tasks for the heist were divvied up. Boba Fett, you fly your ship, go rescue them. You two go in, get key, just one task, and then the women doing all the multitasking at the end. It's like, oh crap, shoot them,
Yeah.
It was just, the whole thing was great. The Mayfeld, the additional information of Mayfeld, the way that you're meant to, the way they conveyed his character, made him clearly more empathetic, and obviously you understand you understand why he left and went rogue and effectively became a mercenary, but obviously maybe that's why they had Tonks do the killing blow during that season 1 episode. They didn't want Mayfield to kill an innocent person on scene. Maybe they knew in the back of their mind, we want to use this character, we want to build on this character, later on in the show. So I thoroughly enjoyed the entire episode, and I liked it. I thought it was really, really good.
All right, Paul, thoughts?
Well, when I go back to watch this in back to back order, I'll know that the best bathroom break time is going to be when Mayfield starts talking. I found that part as much enlightening as it was boring as hell. If I wanted 2-hour dissertations on politics, I'd go and I'd watch Phantom Menace. But that being said, when this episode had action, it had action, and it was good action. So, Neil, what was your rating? Did you give it a rating?
No, but it gets a 5 from me.
All right.
Okay, it gets a 4.5. It loses an entire point, but it gets a half a point back for giving me a bathroom break.
See, I did like the Mayfield conversation, but the problem with it is it did mess with the pacing of the episode. It was, in hindsight, I see why they did it that way. I see the value of it. I like the value of it. But in the moment, it totally took off points. I won't take off a full point. I'll take off a quarter point, 1 quarter portion, and give it a 4.75, which will leave our average at 4.75. pieces of Beskar.
I mean, to be honest with you, it's pretty standard.
Yeah.
Think about other Mad Max 2. When he's in the front seat of the truck, there's a conversation before the bad guys, drive up and start attacking.
Yeah.
I try not to think about Mad Max 2.
There are, in any given situation like this, there is a pause between you being hit or attacked before the action starts.
Yeah.
Which has to involve a certain amount of dialogue. Now,
True.
We know that it's not going to be the Mandalorian that's spouting off. That's why, it's going to be Bill Burr that's, talking.
Yeah.
And spouting off.
And that's kind of why
Otherwise, it would have just been awkward silence for a couple of minutes, which would have been even more boring.
It would have absolutely been more boring. But I will say though, that's kind of why I don't take off as much, because it is what it is. It develops the character of Burr. I don't know. His silence is telling, I think. But like, I feel like I would have loved to have had a response, even a small one, from Mando. And I know that no response is still a response, but it's not really here. And
you mean the crash test dummy dressed up in the armor that they set next to him?
Yeah. That is what it looked like. I want to go back and see if it moves.
It doesn't. I was watching it intently.
Yeah.
I thought that what happened was that, he just put the armor up there and was hiding in the back.
Yeah. Same. Like, that's what I thought too. Mostly because you said it as it started happening, and I was like, that actually does seem like what's going on here, but it's not what happened, apparently.
Yeah, I said he's not in the armor.
Yeah.
He's not in the armor.
Yeah, and it doesn't look like he is. So, all right. Now, with that, next week is the last episode of The Mandalorian for season 2. Let's go through real quick and finalize our predictions. We'll go in reverse order. Paul, then Nev, and then myself. Because I'm not sure what's going to happen.
I believe that they withdraw some of the midichlorians from Grogu and we get Darth Gideon.
Darth Gideon. All right. Nev?
I think that, we have a big fight scene, a big battle between the Moff Gideon's Dark Troopers and the obviously Mandalorian, Boba Fett, Fennec Shand. I also think that Bo-Katan Ratan will show up, and I think that maybe Ahsoka will show up, and the big standoff will be in the. I still say that the standoff's going to be in the throne room on Mandalore, and that at the end, who is going to show up as a hologram to give aid to Moff Gideon right at the end of season 3, giving us a cliffhanger so that we all start crying into our beer because we have to wait another year for the next season.
Yeah. I do think it will end in a cliffhanger. I don't think it will be on on Mandalore. I think it'll be above the Kaminoan ships, or the Kaminoan cloning facility. I think Moff Gideon, and I have good reason, not spoilers, but good reason to believe, if you look at that map, that space map, it is over Kaminoa. It's over Kamino, on the wrong side of the galaxy from the expansion area, the chaos,
the unknown regions.
The unknown regions. So I do not believe that we will get a holographic image, a holographic chiss. At which point I think I lose a bet, don't I?
You would lose a bet
if I don't see him.
If he has not seen by the last second of this coming episode.
All right, so I might lose a bet.
Okay, you know what? I'm going to give you an out.
Okay.
If they reference him and he shows up on a computer, I'm going to give it to you that he appeared.
Okay. So hologram he counts if he shows up on a computer in like the voice?
Nope. Doesn't even have to be voice.
So like a name or something? You have to see his pictures?
If a picture shows up, if we visually see what a live action Thrawn will look like.
Okay. All right. I'll accept the out. Although I do feel like that would be fulfilling my requirements of the bet.
It would.
Right? Because it would. We wouldn't necessarily get him to see him. I think the more I think about it, the more I think, and this is definitely just wishful thinking, that Thrawn is a good guy. And he is...
Yeah. Thrawn turns up in a Grand Admiral's uniform and you think he's a good guy. He's not
Yep.
a good guy. Not good.
It's... Thrawn's allegiance is to the Chiss.
It is. He does have a point.
It's to the Chiss. It is
in this timeline. This canon, if you will. Sorry, Neil. His allegiance is to the Chiss over the Empire.
Yeah,
but him serving the Empire was in the best interest of protecting
the Chiss.
Yes.
Yeah. So, that's why I think he'll be connected. I think Ahsoka Tano looking for Thrawn is a red herring. I think it's going to throw us off. I do think that whatever will happen will actually also include whichever Jedi is sent to find Grogu. So I think we will be introduced to that. So, gentlemen, outside of this week's awesome episode that we're all very much looking forward to, what do you have going on?
Which we may watch for those who are subs to the Escape Podcast Twitch channel. We may be watching this on Friday
morning.
Morning for West Coast, early afternoon for East Coast. Yeah. So pay attention to the Escape Podcast channel, Twitch, not Twitch channel, but Discord channel, Discord server, and we'll let you know.
Because it's going to be awesome. If I can watch it Friday morning-ish for me, I will watch it a few times before this time next week. I am very much looking forward to this final episode. And then, Christmas break to actually rewatch the whole season. So, forced my wife to watch it. She's a Lord of the Rings nerd, not a Star Wars nerd. So, we have things that we argue about quite often. That being said, what else do you guys have going on this week? Nev, Paul?
We've got GA Center. We've got GA Center on Tuesday, coming into our last month of our inaugural season. I've got some GACs, and then obviously we have our flagship show every Friday.
Yes.
Yeah, and we will see. Jackbox may not be on Monday because the Browns play on Monday. So
sports ball.
So I may move Jackbox to Tuesday before GA Center, or I'll move it to Wednesday. Lots of fun stuff coming up, and yeah, I mean it's there may be some squadrons, there may be some Fortnite coming up on the channel as the holidays near.
Indeed. So I too I've downloaded Fortnite. I'm working on getting SWTOR. Just came out with a new update too, I think.
Because I have it now too.
Yeah,
I have that too. So I who knows? We may do that too.
Yeah.
Dad.
So with for me as a teacher with Christmas break coming up, I'm gonna have a lot of free time. So video games, squadrons, You will, and when I always do my GAC live streams, I tell people, I don't show you how to play, I show you what not to do. And that is very much me when playing Squadrons. As, again, Nev can attest. I'm pretty bad. But, thank you guys for joining us. Paul, can you, Master of Ceremonies?
I will absolutely take us out. Ladies and gentlemen, please remember to take care of those that you love. Wear a mask. Be nice to each other, damn it. And remember to smile.
And stay nerdy. Nev, hit the button.
He has
There
a
you go.
button?